Good morning, good evening, and welcome to World of Warships. My name is Robin, and today we will be sailing in the French supercruiser Condé. But first of all, thank you very much for tuning in the video. I really appreciate it, and I hope you will enjoy your time here. I am aware the last few videos I released recently are all about these super ships, but as it stands, they are extremely fun to play, and I was lucky enough to get some ridiculously good games with them. If you have not watched them yet, there are stream highlights on both Annapolis and Zorki available on the channel. I recommend you check them both out. But today, our focus is on this French powerhouse. So, without further ado, let's review the details of the ship we're about to sail in. Condé comes equipped with everything a cruiser of this caliber needs, starting with the health pool of 63,000 and a torpedo damage reduction of 19%. Your resilience is nothing to scoff at, though the bread and butter of this vessel is obviously its guns. 12 240mm guns in a 3x4 layout, a range of 19.5 kilometers and a reload time of 13.2 seconds. The ship also comes default with the burst fire specialty, allowing you to send 2 highly accurate salvos within a couple of seconds before triggering a lengthy reload of 44 seconds. The secondary armament consists of 16 127mm guns, and the ship comes equipped with medium-range torpedoes, a classic French cruiser trait. The anti-air defense system is rated 82, and Condé is able to reach 36.8 knots. 13 kilometers by sea and 8 kilometers by air are the ranges at which the ship will be spotted. For the modules I've installed, we have main armaments modification 1, engine boost modification 1, aiming system modification 1, steering gears modification 1, concealment system modification 1, and main battery modification 3. For my commander, we've selected grease the gears, gun feeder, last stand, demolition expert, consumable specialist, AR, superintendent, radio location, and concealment experts. In terms of consumables, a French engine boost, MBRB, and our choice of defensive AA comes to reinforce this already impressive stature. But that is well enough of these descriptions. Let's put some footage behind these words and take the Condé to battle. And here we are. On the map, a Warrior's Path, domination mode. We've got ourselves a centered spawn, although we will head towards Objective C to try and work the flank. If anything, this ship plays exactly like a Henry IV, and essentially have much greater firepower. Although, just like the Tier 10, the engine boost consumable is kind of your lifeline once you're engaged in long-range fights. You are a big target, and not necessarily well armored either, so you should try and keep the fight to your max range at the start of a game at least. I will give you a disclaimer though, this game was full of mistakes on my part. I did not play the ship as I should have, at least not all the time, and we are going to get ourselves caught a lot of times, but kinda get away with it at the same time. You'll see later in the video. So, for now, we are just making our way to the action. Escorting us are a Schlieffen and a Kremlin, with a Napoli and Ostergotland leading the push. This is obviously Tier 10 matchmaking with a couple of Tier 9 thrown in there. Staying true to what I said, I will let the Schlieffen pass in front and get ready to set up a kiting position when our first clients of the day are spotted on the horizon. A Yamato and a Thunderer. Obviously, the Condé is excellent at farming battleships with its fantastic high explosive and fire chance. So we are happy to engage Yamato as he is the closest, even though I would have preferred engaging Thunderer to push him away. And right as we open up, actually, a Kurfürst is also spotted, so this flank becomes the perfect area for me to be. As you can see, the ballistic though on the guns are something of a learning curve. You do have to lead a bit more than you think. These are not the fastest cruiser shells in the game at all, and they tend to be rather floaty above 15 kilometers or so. I see Yamato's guns trained in my direction and instantly cut the engine, though Yamato predicted that move and I am forced to activate my engine boost to barely get away from that salvo. Although in 3 salvos we've almost done 20,000 damage and set 2 fires. Yamato repairs them right as Ostgotland's torpedoes start closing in, and I decide to use my MBRB to try and make sure Yamato burns again. Classic move on my part. I've put myself stern in towards the cap and I'm ready to disengage or reconceal if I need to. Yamato takes 2 torpedoes but does manage to land a pretty good hit. I wasn't quite fast enough to dodge this time, and I'll switch to the alternative firing mode to send out as many shells I can fire before Yamato sails out of range. At this point, you've all seen the gimmick of Condé, but here it is in action. 2 salvos in very short succession with improved dispersion. If Yamato hadn't taken that much damage, this would have been a few more guaranteed fires as we get the first blood. Kurfürst and Thunderer just witnessed what happened to their teammate and are thinking nope, so both are happily turning away and we have to give chase. Although there is a destroyer in the cap somewhere, and considering Marceau was spotted on the other flank, this has to be a Fletcher. An enemy Hindenburg is also taking defensive positions. This flank is far from being done. Almost 3 minutes left on my engine boost too. Having the special upgrade, I think, is an important aspect of the ship's playstyle, and we will be back in range of these battleships in no time, especially that Thunderer, which I think is the biggest threat left on this flank, and I will focus her. Our Kremlin has taken severe damage, and I decided to aggressively push in and open up to try and alleviate some of the pressure put on him. Schlieffen is also pushing in behind us, even though the destroyer threat is still present. Enemy Alexander Nevsky is also spotted in the distance. Not great news, but I do have an escape route towards B if things on this cap go bad. And trust me, they are about to do just that. Double fire set on the Thunderer though. I expect her to use her damage control, so I instantly activate my MBRB again to make sure she keeps on burning. Our Ostgotland also has more torpedoes in the water, and we are doing a great job keeping these battleships away. But aggression always comes at a cost, and the enemy Fletcher has us dialed in with some torpedoes. I slowed down right into them, and we barely avoid taking 3. Still, that's 21,000 HP removed from our pool, and that's also HP we can't quite heal back either. With that said, I switched to the alternative firing mode, sent out 2 partying salvos on Thunderer, and turned away to disengage while avoiding Fletcher's second set. Not the most amazing of starts, especially with that HP lost, but we've put a serious dent into Thunderer, now burning with a permanent fire, while pushing them far enough away that our remaining teammates can try and secure the cap. Not for me though. I'll be on my way to Bravo, as it would seem that the enemy team is not really interested on this objective right now. Hindenburg running away, and I will try to cut off her retreat. So far, it seems that our team is in a serious stalemate at A, with ships being traded. But so far, we sunk 2 battleships, they only took out 1 cruiser. Hindi going broadside, it may have been a bit overkill to use the burst mode to finish her off like that, but I wanted to make sure that this frag was secured before entering the cap. As far as I'm aware, I should be able to take this uncontested. We did lose our Kurfürst at A, which leads me to believe that this flank is slowly but surely losing to the enemy team. I will try to assist whenever I can, since I have the range on some targets there, but the focus is to flip the cap first. Enemy Kurfürst, retreating in the distance, might as well try and put some damage on it. And even if our front gun cannot clear the island, our back turret can, and we are not spotted while doing so. Schlieffen is going to follow us through the channel, leaving only Napoli to try and finally flip the sea cap. Ostergotland managed to find the Fletcher also. I am not sure which destroyer is going to win the engagement, but at least it's one ship we don't have to worry about for now. We do get reinforced by Marco Polo, which is proper timing as our Kremlin goes down, but given that the enemy team is on the run from that flank, I can start focusing on what is in front of me, especially with the Bravo cap now secured. I would love to keep the fire going on that Kurfürst though. He is still very healthy and booking it away. It will take a lot more work to destroy this German battleship, and that concerns me, as he is crossfiring anyone attempting to go through B to defend the inevitable push from A once our team there gets taken out. Though I am pushing my luck staying in the middle of the map like that and trying to take some pot shots. Condé is not particularly good at hugging islands anyway, and I need to find a way out of the cap and reach open waters where I will feel more comfortable playing on. Kurfürst and Nevsky do finally notice me though, and I have to angle. We do take lots of damage anyway, nothing critical, but considering our team is not doing too well, any HP lost reduces our chances of a comeback. We do get presented with a good opportunity that we cannot really give up though. Enemy Alaska has overextended into A and is presenting us a nice broadside. Time to hit and run. I activate my booster again and switch to the burst fire mode. Alaska does have a waterline citadel, but we do land enough 4 pans to take the cruiser out before accelerating out of harm's way. Unfortunately, the Kurfürst has us locked in, and we get extremely lucky not to get instantly destroyed here. That's another 11k removed from our health pool, and we are now entering the be careful or die zone, where mistakes like these will be our last if repeated again. But you know me, I am not one to run away and lick my wounds, at least not all the time. I just know that we have the advantage here. We own the caps and have the enemy team out of position. We just need to hold what we got and maintain the pressure to prevent any decisive push onto A at this point. So I am turning right back in. The plan here is to try and catch some broadsides. There are 3 enemy cruisers left at A, and I am trying to push into a cross-firing position where my team at A or myself will have at least someone exposed. The Kurfürst and Thunderer threat is still present, of course, but if I can keep some islands to cut line of sight, I should be able to make that play. First salvo goes out for Iowa, but right after that we are going to catch the enemy Carnot, beached and broadsided. This is where gun feeder comes in clutch, as we are able to switch to armor piercing and send out our burst before Carnot reverses behind cover, effectively taking out the French cruiser and granting us our 4th kill of the game. Bit of a risky play here, as Iowa could have our number, but at least he is the only battleship that can engage me at this point. We are going through our lengthy reload now, keeping an eye out for incoming shells and trying to reconceal. Alexander Nevsky is pushing straight up the 4th line, and we need to set up a position to contest him. Iowa is thankfully not paying attention to us, and we are going to keep the armor piercing loaded before taking some pot shots. At this point, I am using yet another charge of booster to try and put as much hurt on the Iowa as I possibly can. I know I will have to deal with the battleship if he pushes right behind the Nevsky, and we actually do land some pretty decent hits. Nevsky is our priority, though. We managed to lob some nice hits over the island, but the burst fire is once again going to come in clutch as we prevent the Russian cruiser from pushing any further with a well-placed salvo on his broadside. That is going to be our Kraken Unleashed, as we breach the 200,000 damage, and it's time to bail out of B. The enemy Fletcher, even if chased by our Östergötland, is still putting some pressure on the remaining teammates from Charlie. Napoli isn't doing too good and is about to go down, while our Marco Polo is going to be facing long odds on a fight versus a Kurfürst and a Thunderer. I am trying to put myself in a kiting position, but our hand is being forced as the enemy Fletcher comes out of his smoke and spots us. Impossible for me to turn away due to the island, and we are in a lot of trouble here. Our engine boost is still active though, giving us enough speed to at least offer more angles to work with, but our Marco Polo actually goes down faster than I thought, leaving us the prime target for these two battleships over there. On the other flank, the Johan de Witt goes down, and the point advantage we had is now greatly offset by the apparent lack of ships in our team now. I am not alone though. Östergötland is still maneuvering, albeit extremely close, to these two battleships and providing spotting and torpedo threat. Engine boost working as intended, especially at these long ranges. Both salvos land short and I get away scot-free. Last charge of my booster used, I am trying to put as much damage on the Kurfürst as I can, since he does have the lowest HP and well, the Thunderer is out of range. My IPF also indicates that the Fletcher is making its way into Bravo, but from my position there isn't anything I can do about it, at least not while Thunderer and Grosse Kurfürst are still alive. Using the last few seconds of my engine boost, I pull one last reverse trick to avoid Thunderer's salvo and proceed forward to try and keep the range on the Kurfürst, as he is now trying to turn away. But this player right here is an excellent shot, and if it was not for Kurfürst's unreliable dispersion at best, I would have been dead once again. I told you I'd make a lot of mistakes this game, and this is yet another one. Seeing that the incoming salvo is going to hit, I preemptively use my heal, and we only lose 8k HP from that somehow. As we predicted, Fletcher enters the B cap, and only Schlieffen and Yamato are left on the A flank against a Marceau and Annapolis. We do get a permanent fire on the Kurfürst though, sealing its fate, and switch to Thunderer. But the game is made. Both Schlieffen and Yamato are going to go down in rapid succession, and at this point, well, there's just no way we're coming back from that. I also got pushed away to a position where it will take me too long to reach back into Bravo, at least not before the remaining enemies have made their way there. And well, we still have that British battleship to deal with anyway. I am in a advantageous spot though, and we are being efficient with the fires we set. The Witherer medal popped up a few seconds ago, and we have dealt a lot of damage, but that is pretty much it. Even if we still somehow have the point advantage, there is no way we can just run away and win. We partially dodge the Thunderer's salvo, and our engine boost even comes back online. Östergötland sets up a nice torpedo salvo, which will finish off the battleship and allow us to turn back in. Looking back at it, if I hadn't taken these torpedoes from Fletcher, if I didn't get caught as often as I did and took unnecessary damage, and even if I'd managed. You know, looking back at it, if I hadn't taken these two torpedoes from Fletcher, if I didn't get caught as often as I did and took unnecessary damage, and even if I would have managed my consumables a bit more effectively, I would be sitting on, what, 30k more HP? Plenty enough to attempt a push towards Bravo with the help of my destroyer regarding spotting. But at this point I know this is in vain. My attempt to ask Östergötland to push B with an Annapolis lurking around is kinda pitiful, and it doesn't take too long before we get spotted. Now, I did have the feeling that the Fletcher would try to capture Charlie. With 4 minutes left on the timer, he could have the luxury. And my goal is going to be to try and sail back towards that cap for a potential kill, and I was right. Marceau also engages us, even if he is the least of my concern. I am worried about the Iowa, and once again, we don't have to wait too long either. The moment I turn away and I see the spotted icon appear on my screen, I knew it was the end. This is the last broadside we will give to a battleship in this game, and right after we blow up, Östergötland also gets detonated for the most dramatic finish on this game of Warrior's Path. Close to 300,000 damage dealt with close to 300 shells hits, yielding 11 fires and 4 citadels. We achieved Wither, Confederate, Kraken, Unleashed, First Blood and High Caliber, capturing 1 zone and sinking 5 ships in the process. Unfortunately, not that much XP. Well, it is a defeat after all, but throughout this attempt to try and maintain a win for our team, and regardless of the countless errors I made in my plays, I still hope that this was a good example of how Condé can be commanded. Well, people, this video is coming to an end. Thank you very much for watching all the way through. I hope you've enjoyed your time during this fully commented episode. It's been a while since I've done that. And if you did, give the video a thumbs up. If you did not, well, thumbs down. But stay tuned anyway. I am back on the saddle for a few more Warships videos, so, as always, there will be more content to come about World of Warships. So, until then, you have a good one, and you take it easy.